everybody, this is Diane. Hello and welcome to Biters.
And this is Marnell, and you can suck it, Ginny.
Which was probably the best line of the season.
Wendell had a pretty good one. I loved his, yeah, it's a risk, but so is lighting a runway with Christmas lights.
And look how that turned out. Thank God for the Wendell and Sarah show.
Right?
Yes.
Because we'd be leaving like Dwight.
Oh my God. Yes.
So we are podcasting season 5, episode 15, channel 5. That was a lot of numbers.
So give me a few more numbers. What was your rating?
My rating was probably way higher than yours.
I suspect it was.
Not my highest rating of the season. I rated it a 3.95, touching sibling reunions.
Holy crap. You rated it a whole point higher than I did.
Oh my goodness.
I rated it 2.9 cult recruitment videos out of 5.
Cult recruit. Call you dad, you're in a cult. I couldn't quite go 4, but so here's the thing. I don't have a lot of good to say about the episode. It was just better. I have more notes. I don't know. It felt a little different than the rest of the episodes in season 5B. And I think it's just because the end is near.
Oh, how far our standards have dropped.
Right.
Okay, Thomas O'Mara wanted me to point out that this week was up against the Emmys and football.
Yes. And I think I texted you on Sunday night and went, oh, well, the Emmys, we're going to suck.
Yeah, the dude from Queer Eye was wearing a dress. I mean, come on. That was way more compelling.
Jonathan always wears dresses.
Oh, see, I don't watch Queer Eye, so.
Oh, I love the new Queer Eye. I love the old Queer Eye too, but the new one is just amazing. I love all of the guys. And, yeah, Jonathan, like, he's known for wearing, like, flannel and sequins and high heels.
Yeah, Jonathan in a dress was more compelling than Fear the Walking Dead this week.
Man, he's got some Jesus-level hair. It's great.
Oh, my God. And those legs. He has some serious gams.
Speaking of Jesus, didn't you watch Tom Payne's new show?
Yes, I did, and we'll talk about that.
Excellent. Because I didn't. I have not had the time.
I taped it, and I watched it the night after it aired. Actually, I watched it the night that it aired. I watched it a few hours after it aired, actually.
We're actually podcasting a little late this week. You postponed, and then I postponed because my work got crazy. So
I have had a shite week. I told you before we came on. I have had a shite week.
I've been taking the laptop home and working till I can't anymore.
Yeah, so you've had a shite week also.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so the numbers for this week's Fear. So it was 1.34 million overall. So it's actually staying fairly steady. It had a slight uptick in the 18 to 49 rating from last week to this week. It was 0.3 last week. It's 0.4 this week.
That's really good considering what we were up against.
Right? And it was 8th overall on Sunday in cable.
Not bad. I mean, top 10. I think there's been a couple of times where we haven't broken top 25.
Now, no, I'm not talking about for the week. I'm just talking about for the day. So
okay.
It's always made the top 25 for the day. I don't have numbers for where it stands in the week. Typically, recently, it has not been finishing in the top 25 for the week.
Not surprising.
Yeah.
So I actually have a couple of numbers to throw at you, too.
Okay, go for it.
So if you look on IMDb for all of season 5 for Fear the Walking Dead, you'll notice the little star ratings next to the episodes. And it is very interesting to look at season 5A compared to season 5B.
I'm assuming the ratings are quite a bit lower for 5B.
So it's an average.
4.6 out of 10 for this episode. 4.6 out of 10.
So, of course, season 5A has more ratings. The Here to Help has 1,234 ratings. I think it's a 7.6, which is about average for season 5A. I think the lowest episode was The Little Prince at 6.8. And then you get to Channel 4. 999 ratings, and it's got a 5.5. It's I Leave What You Don't got the only 7, but everything has been kind of 6s. There's a 5. Yeah, and now Channel 5, which only has 448 ratings right now, is at a 4.6. So, yeah.
The numbers are pretty grim.
We are confirmed for season 6. Is it our last season? Who knows?
Possibly. I've got some stuff that might pertain to that in Whisperer's Corner tonight.
Interesting.
All right, so our title was clearly a play on Channel 4.
They've always got a one-up on.
Okay, I like that. I didn't think about that, but that's a good point. Do you have anything else about Channel 5?
I don't.
So I thought of you because I just Googled to see if there was anything that came up with Channel 5.
BBC.
Right, it's actually like a big BBC channel that does the Big Brother shows.
Yep.
Which totally made me think of you.
Yep. And you could watch us on Catch Up. Apparently that's their on demand for Channel 5.
I was like, what the heck? You can watch us on Catch Up? Is there something I don't know about?
Nope, they call it Catch Up. We call it on demand. They call it Catch Up.
See, I think of syrupy red things that go on hamburgers, so...
Right, and I hear the one of the hosts of Big Brother, and you can watch us on Catch Up.
Sorry, I'm yawning, and it's not you. I really have had a heck of a week. And I'm only 3 weeks out today from my surgery, and I am off crutches.
Congratulations.
I know, right?
Yeah.
3 weeks ahead of schedule. I'm impressed.
So for somebody who was afraid the surgery was maybe the wrong decision, I think it was a good one.
Things are looking good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm having less pain than I was before surgery, and that's really pretty darn good.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
Unless it's Tom pain. Less pain is always better.
Right. All right. So, our writers have written for Fear before.
One other time.
Yeah, it was Michael Alaimo, Alaimo. He has written 2 seasons of Fear the Walking, or 2 episodes rather, of Fear the Walking Dead. This one and the episode Is Anybody Out There?
Mm-hmm.
And then his co-author was Samir Mehta, Mehta. He's also written 2 episodes, this one and Skidmark.
But they have both produced a bunch of episodes, both 15 episodes of Fear the Walking Dead.
Is it all the episodes for this season? Did they just get brought on this season?
It looks like it, yeah.
The other thing that I will say is Samir Mehta also wrote for The Sinner, which is still on my list. It's not at the top of my list, but it's still on my list.
Season 1 was super good. Season 2 was kind of hard to get into.
All right, good to know, because I'm still working my way through Glitch. I'm like parceling it out because I'm really enjoying it, so I don't want to binge it all at once.
So I watched episode 1 and I wasn't hooked. I'll probably keep watching, but we've been kind of on a 6 Feet Under binge.
I'm glad you're binging 6 Feet Under. I'm kind of shocked that you weren't hooked by Glitch.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. Maybe it struck me on the wrong night, but I'm also on a binge of The 100. I'm rewatching The 100.
I need to try that. I've never watched it, and I need to try that. I started Jericho. I was kind of meh.
I loved Jericho.
I started The Good Place. It was all right.
Haven't started that one.
You know, but I will, and I'll talk a little more. There was something that I was obsessed with pretty recently that I want to talk about a little bit.
I'm actually in season 2 of the 100 right now. It's still on, I believe, and I haven't finished it. I think I dropped off in like season 4 or something, but I haven't got to the Alicia Debnam Carey shows yet.
I was just going to ask you to remind me who from Fear was on the 100, because I know we've talked about it a lot.
Yes, she is a big main character for quite a few episodes.
Wasn't somebody else from the Walking Dead franchise on the 100?
I think so. But also the guy from American Gods.
Oh, no, that's what it was. Ricky Whittle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yummy. All right. Also, very quickly, we've talked about our director before. This is his second episode of Fear as well. His other episode was I Lose People. He's written for a lot of really good stuff, and we mentioned these last time, so I'm not going to totally belabor it, but he wrote for Under the Dome, he wrote for Arrow. His big crossover, I think, that kind of links him into the Walking Dead universe is that he wrote for Once Upon a Time, which hooks him in with the two showrunners that we have currently, the two knuckleheads, as Steve likes to say.
Right.
He's also written for the Star Trek franchise. He wrote for both Enterprise and Discovery.
So he was our director, though.
Yeah. Did I say writer? I meant to say director.
Yeah.
Okay. No, he was our writer. Or our director. Good Lord. It really has been a long week.
It has.
Oh, and it's only Thursday.
He also produced a show called The Secret Circle, and that was one of those CW shows that was kind of in the vein of Vampire Diaries, and it was when witches were super hot. You know how we talked about like vampires had their moment. Yeah. Like we had a cycle where witches were super popular, and that was a pretty good show. So yeah, he's done a lot of really good stuff, whether he's directed, written, produced.
I am going to tell you honestly, I don't think this was really good stuff.
It's better. We're on our way up. Moving on up.
I keep saying it. You might believe it.
Right?
Yep.
Did you see the trailer for the last episode?
No, I did not watch the trailer for the last episode. I really, I'm going to apologize to the people who are listening to us right now in advance. I did not put as much effort into this podcast as I usually do because I'm just fried.
It's tough. It's been a long season.
I'm completely fried by this series.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Prime coming back. There's actually an article.
We'll talk about it.
Comicbook.com?
We'll talk about it.
Yay!
But first, let's talk about our featured cast.
Alrighty. So our featured cast member plays Janice, who was Tom's sister.
Yes.
And so we were right.
Yes, you were right, and Dianne LaSorsa was right.
Right. Good show.
Yes.
So Holly
Curran.
Yes. Thank you. I have a tab open for her somewhere. Actually, I might not. So one of her big shows that she has been in is one that is on our list, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Yes. Miss Maisel.
Miss Maisel.
Yeah.
I say Caribbean. You probably say Caribbean.
But it is Miss Maisel. I've heard it said repeatedly. Yes.
I'm just fancy.
I actually watched a little snippet of an interview with Holly Curran, and she mentioned it.
So I watched she won a Rising Star Award at the Westerfield International Film Festival.
We must have watched the same snippet because that was the one that I watched.
Right. So she was in a short called How Do You Type a Broken Heart? So I did watch something with her. Did you watch her comedy reel?
No. The only thing I watched was the little snippet where they were talking to her because she won that award as a rising star at the Westfield International Film Festival.
She was so adorable in that. She looked so nervous.
She was pretty cute, but I was like, sister, put a bra on.
I watched another interview with her from 2015. She was in another movie, and she was being interviewed, and she was on a park bench in New York City where she lived at the time. And she was so much more relaxed, and it seemed like a better interview. When she was interviewed for her award, she was like all dressed up and on the red carpet, and it looked like it was kind of like for E! Or something like that. And she just looked like she was like sweating.
This may be an anti-feminist thing to say, but nice dress, shame about the bra.
So her comedy reel, it is on IMDb, on her IMDb page, and you can also find it by Googling her name. But I absolutely endorse going and watching her comedy reel.
Is that the demo reel that's up for her?
It might be. It's
like
called
a 2-minute
It's called
clip?
a comedy reel. Yes, 2 minutes and 16 seconds.
Oh, no, different one then.
Okay, she is in a music video parody of a Justin Bieber song.
Oh my gosh, I bet that's hilarious.
And the theme of the parody is Harry Potter. And it is hilarious. I need to go find the real video. I'm surprised it didn't come up when I Googled her because it looks so funny.
Would you please post it to Biters?
Yeah, I will see if I can. It might just lead to her IMDb page, but if I find the video, I wholeheartedly endorse going and watching her comedy reel. She is very, very funny.
So I'm totally going down 2 rabbit holes that have nothing to do with Holly Curran.
All right.
One is your show Fleabag won a bunch of Emmys. 2 is you made me think of one of my favorite Justin Bieber parodies, which is a parody actually about opiate prescribing done by ZDogg MD.
Oh my goodness.
It's actually really great.
You'll have to send that to me.
Yes, I will.
We don't have to post it to the Biters page. You can go look if you're interested, but you'll have to send it to me.
I will.
So another thing that she is in is called Z, The Beginning of Everything.
Which I totally thought was a zombie reference until I read about it.
Right? I saw the advertisements for this. I think it's on like Lifetime or OWN or one of the women's channels or something. But it is the story of Zelda Fitzgerald.
F. Scott Fitzgerald's wife.
Right. And it stars Christina Ricci. And so that's why it was...
Oh, that's why the actress looks so familiar. I didn't read anything else about it. I'm sitting here looking at the cover for it and thought, who is that? She looks totally different as a blonde.
It has been on my radar forever because I love Christina Ricci and I love the era that it's set in. So I just... It reminded me I need to put that back on the top, close to the top of the list. But so Holly was also.
Oops, sorry. I'm looking up that video for you.
Holly was also in a TV show called The Bull, which is very popular and still going. She's only got one credit for that, though. The Blacklist, which I believe is also still going. Like I said, I dropped off when a certain character died. I won't give anything on that away. Turn, which also is on my radar.
Was that an AMC property?
It was an AMC property.
Okay, I was thinking about that when I was looking at her profile, and I thought, there's the AMC connection.
Yep, absolutely. She did Turn in 2015. Her very, very first credit is for a TV series called Night and Day. That sounds very familiar. But I don't know that I know it. Yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot about her online.
Does she have much in the way of social media?
She actually does. So she is on Twitter, and she is at Haldal Curran. HOLLDOLLCURRAN. She is very political on her Twitter, and most of her Twitter is really just the repost from her Instagram. So it doesn't give you the picture, it just gives you the link to Instagram and whatever the caption for so I highly endorse following her on Instagram. She's much less political, and she is at Holly Curran 11 on Instagram. She has a adorable French bulldog.
Oh, right on.
And she's a huge foodie. So apparently her Nana makes amazing pierogi, because there's several
yummy.
pictures.
Okay.
Yeah, there's several pictures of pierogi. Yeah, it's just kind of a normal Instagram, and she posts a lot of her work on Instagram.
I'm assuming she leans left, so if you don't lean that way, don't follow her on Twitter.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So I always try and find if a celebrity endorses any particular charity. So if you like a celebrity, you can help endorse the same charity or give to that charity. She actually did in 2017, she participated in the Sleep Out with Covenant House.
Oh, so it's for homeless youth.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Yeah, so we have a couple of people on Fear that do a lot for homeless youth. So that's kind of her charity of choice, it looks like. So go support.
I am going to put up a link for that. I found a link.
Yeah, go support Covenant House.
Yes, because whether you lean left or right, homeless teenagers are a responsibility that we all share.
Yeah. So,
and Covenant House provides healthcare too. Covenant House is great.
I believe they also provide counseling, and they're really a full service for young people.
I am on Biters right now getting ready to post that. So
that's really all I had about Holly Curran. Like I said, there's not a huge presence online. There's not a lot out there. But I'm really glad that we saw a lot more of her, a lot more of her brother Tom, and a lot more of Wes this episode.
Well, and I'm really, really hopeful that maybe they will keep her on as full cast. It looks like we're going to have Wes.
Definitely have Wes, and definitely have the rabbi.
At least for a while, right?
Right. I don't know about Grace, though. We'll get to that. All right. So what do you got for Whisperer's Corner?
All right. Before we get into Whisperer's Corner, I want to say, first of all, the series Unbelievable was unbelievable. It was amazing.
Right.
So the other Real Housewife is the one who brought it to my attention, which I did not realize. For some reason, I was thinking you mentioned it, but she was like, no, that was me.
No, I'm pretty sure I did.
I'm going to let the two of you duke it out because you are both way tougher than I am. I'm not going to get in the middle of those flying fists.
But regardless of who recommended it to you, it's bonkers. It's a real story. It's true.
It totally plays like one of those written for crime or written for TV crime dramas. And you're like, there's no way this could be real. Oh my God. I'm actually reading the book that came out of the ProPublica articles that were written, that were the articles that kind of made this series happen.
Because of course you are. You always read the book.
Right. So it's fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, even if you just go read, I think it was a Vanity Fair article.
No, it was it was a journalistic group called ProPublica that did a series of articles about these cases.
Okay.
So for people who don't remember, who didn't listen to the last podcast, it's pretty triggery if you are a victim of sexual assault or if you're close to anyone who is, because It's interesting because it wasn't super graphic,
No,
but it
but
was disturbing.
yes, that is a very good word for it.
Yeah, the way that the assaults were depicted were incredibly disturbing, even though they weren't super graphic.
Uh, First person. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's episode 1. It's like
Yes,
right
like
off
right
the bat.
away. Yeah.
So if you cannot make it through episode 1, do not watch the rest. But I highly recommend it to anybody who can stand it and who is just amazed by this story of a serial rapist, and he got away with it forever until 2 women detectives team up.
And not to get really sexist, but I'm going to be a little bit sexist here. It is really fascinating looking at the way a victim was handled by a male detective as compared to the way another victim was handled by a female detective. The approaches were very different.
Well, and it actually completely changed the way that police departments handle victims.
Well, yeah, because Linwood PD had to pay out $150,000 and they got off lightly.
Very lightly.
Yes.
She just wanted it over.
Yeah. The other thing that's really interesting that I thought when I was watching it is that you look at how kind of the socioeconomic class of the victim really impacted the way that they were handled as well. So the young lady in Linwood was a kid who had been in and out of the foster system forever. She was living in
a program housing for children who were transitioning from foster homes to adulthood.
And she had had a really tough life, and people were really skeptical about her. And then the other young lady that they kind of paralleled her with was going to college. She was in an IT program. She was in a relationship, and she was just treated totally differently. Mm-hmm. So I really felt like not only was it reflective of how the individual detectives handled things, but it was also really reflective of assumptions that we make about people based on their class and their educational status.
Right. Support Covenant House.
Right. There you go. Yeah.
Way to bring it back around.
Seriously, if you want to watch something amazing and you're not going to be horribly triggered by it, Unbelievable was unbelievable.
And you can catch it on Netflix.
Yes. And Tom Paine's new series premiered on Monday. It's called Prodigal. It's on Fox.
Prodigal Son, right?
I think it's just Prodigal, isn't it?
Okay.
Now I'm going to have to IMDb that. But I will tell you, although I wasn't completely enraptured by it, I'm going to let the DVR continue to record it, and I'm going to continue to give it a chance.
So I know that we mentioned this when we first talked about it, but it is by the same, directors, producers, showrunners, writers, someone.
Okay, you're right. It's called Prodigal Son. Sorry.
Okay. That did Whiskey Cavalier?
No.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't think so.
I was right about the title.
You could be right about the title, but I don't think you're right about Whiskey Cavalier. I will say, however, that the guy who plays Tom Paine's dad is Michael Sheen, who was in Good Omens.
Yes.
Which, he was a perfectly good Aziraphale, even though I didn't like the way that they treated the material. Yeah.
Yeah.
We still haven't talked about Good Omens. I know, we're way behind on everything.
Everything. Preacher.
Okay. I know, Preacher. So the other thing that I want to say before we get into Whisperer's Corner is Halloween Wars is back on Sunday.
Okay, I am the Real Housewife that got you addicted to that.
I kind of got addicted on my own, but you definitely fostered the addiction. I found it on my own, but you were like, oh yeah, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, so that's the only time I watch any of the Cupcake Wars or anything like that on the Food Network.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to geek out on foodie stuff, it's people who do edible Halloween decorations.
And they're amazing because
amazing.
Sometimes they're life size.
Yes.
For the pumpkin carving portion alone, you should watch it, let alone the sugar sculpting or the froster or whatever.
So they actually did the run up to the premiere this weekend. So they kind of highlighted some of the people who were potentially going to be parts of the teams. I didn't watch the whole thing, but a couple of the cake artists that they had were amazing.
If you couldn't tell, Diane and I are huge fans of Halloween.
Right. So the Food Network Halloween Wars Sunday nights. It is so much fun.
Very cool.
All right. And now I think I'm done rhapsodizing about other television series. I don't have anything new in the world of podcasts this week, except the group that does Pod Save America. I can't remember who. Crooked Media.
Yes.
They have a new podcast coming out.
Do they?
They do. And actually, I lied and said that I wasn't going to talk about anything before I got into Whisperer's Corner, but I do want to look this up real quick because it sounded really good. So let me see now if I can find it or not. And it's not political. So one of the things about Crooked Media is that most of their stuff is political, but this is actually more cultural and kind of looking at cultural phenomenon.
Huh.
So it sounded really interesting. And of course, now it's going to take me forever to... Oh, here it is. No. Awesome. So it's called America Dissected.
Ooh.
Yeah. And
I'm writing that down.
The trailer is out. The first episode drops on September 30th. And it says, from celebrities who hate vaccines to politicians who hate Obamacare, the mistrust, fake news, sensationalism, and social media firestorms that we see every day in politics and media are distracting us from what really matters for our health. In America Dissected, a new podcast hosted by Abdul El Sayed, a doctor and former Detroit health director, will go beyond the headlines to dissect America's major health problems, what connects them, and what we can all do to solve them. So, I thought that sounded really interesting. It's on my list.
That does sound interesting. It sounds more interesting than what's on the news these days because they keep repeating it over and over and over.
Okay, I don't even want to get into today's news because I feel like I'm drinking from a fire hose.
Right?
Yes.
We're podcasting on September 26th, and a few days ago, something hit the media, and nobody has shut up about it since. And I'm really, really glad that it didn't happen like on Sunday, because then we would have been up against Sports Ball, the Emmys, and the news.
Yeah. So go to your favorite news network, whatever that may be, and check it out, because I think we're living in very interesting times.
We are.
All right, and now back to Fear the Walking Dead. Sorry.
Everything else just seems more interesting.
It does. All right. So, first of all, and I thought this was already official, so I thought this was really funny. AMC announced an official name for the franchise via Twitter. They are calling it The Walking Dead Universe. I was like, really? That's news?
I'm pretty sure we've all been calling it that.
Yeah, so apparently AMC finally decided to make it official. In the same tweet, they also announced that they had big plans for the NY Comic-Con panel, and they are doing an advanced screening of episode 1 of season 10 on the 5th, the day before the rest of us plebes actually get it.
That's not fair.
Well, so the people who are going to New York Comic-Con, they get it a day ahead of time. So, Tom O'Mara, let us know how it is. All right. So, Paul Tassi wrote that he has previewed the first 3 episodes of season 10, and he says, quote, they're all good. Which, considering he has been one of the loudest anti-fear voices this season, that's high praise from him.
And it was probably all he could say about the first 3 episodes, because I'm sure they have to sign something that under penalty of death that they won't whisper a thing about the first 3 episodes they've seen.
So I read the article, and he does talk about kind of very minor plot points of each episode, but he's not really giving anything away.
Right.
It's like, oh, this episode is where we get some of the backstory of the new Whisperer that's being introduced that Thora Birch is playing. Gamma.
Right.
So he says things like that, but in terms of any major things, no. He did say in his article that we still don't have a sense after episode 3 of how, when, and why Michonne is leaving. So I thought that was interesting because it sounds like they're looking at her probably going out around episode 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, really
that's what's been
her...
what's been in the news is that, like the first 6 episodes she would be around, and after that she was done.
I was really hoping to keep her longer than that.
Yeah, this is not confirmed in the article that Paul Tassi put out. Again, it's stuff that we've kind of been looking at all along, but it basically sounded like the first 6 and then she's done.
Yeah.
Creepshow's reboot premieres on Shudder this week.
Oh my goodness.
There was a very nice article about Nicotero and his role in rebooting Creepshow, and he refers to it as, quote, my baby.
Oh.
But
I can't pay for another streaming platform. I'm sorry.
I'm right there with you. I'm wondering if you might be able to buy just those episodes on iTunes.
Yeah, maybe. It's really hard. It makes it very, very hard to commit to a new show when you kind of have to seek it out more.
Right.
We're also used to just clicking on the TV and it's there. And now we're like, we can find it on Netflix or Amazon Prime. But I'm like, do I really have to pay for CBS All Access and Shudder and Hulu and Netflix and Amazon Prime and cable?
But it is Nicotero, and it is Creepshow.
I know.
And he does bring back Tom Savini, his guru, his special effects guru, for some of the work in Creepshow.
Oh, that may be what gets me to watch it.
I did post the article, so you can take a look at the article. It's on Biters.
The effects, because they're so big on practical effects, and I think that's very, very. It's much better visually.
Okay, so this is the thing that I said might have bearing on season 6. Probably not, but comicbook.com is reporting that Fear the Walking Dead fans have launched a petition on change.org to remove the showrunners of Fear the Walking Dead.
Wow.
I posted that link on Biters too. I said I'm not endorsing it. I just want people to see it. But as of me looking at it right before we came on tonight, 695 people had signed at that point. Not very many.
I was going to say, I think it just hit like 5 hours ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's more than 100 people an hour. Give it a couple of days.
Yeah, so, not that I'm thinking that AMC is really going to listen.
No.
But, I'm clicking on it again just to see if there's an update. Now there are 730 signatures.
Oh.
So, mine is not one. I'm staying neutral in this. I think they need to go away, but as a podcast host, I'm staying neutral.
Look, I don't want to get anyone fired.
That was exactly my thought.
Unless they've done something like really egregious, like, I don't know, spousal abuse or something. Like,
ruin a series.
Something is going to ruin it someday.
Completely misuse great actress Jenna Elfman.
Right. Even Jeffrey Dean Morgan says The Walking Dead future, let's go out on top.
Completely destroy great characters, Morgan.
And Dwight. But something's gonna kill it someday. Whether it's something dragging it down or just the slow grind to the end. I mean, nothing lasts forever except The Simpsons.
Although, and this is the only other thing that I wrote down for Whisperer's Corner, so there was an article this week by Eric Kane called 10 Things AMC Needs to Do to Make Sure The Walking Dead Can Last for Decades to Come. And he's talking about really making the franchise ongoing like the Star Trek franchise has been.
Yeah.
So not so much continuing one particular series, but continuing the franchise. And I actually wrote down all of his points because I thought most of them were pretty valid. So
Well,
oh, go ahead.
and so here's the thing. Like, you have a favorite Star Trek, don't you?
I would have to say probably DS9.
And I'm a TNG girl. Like,
Yeah.
nobody is going to like them all. I started watching, I can't remember if it was DS9 or the other one. I watched like the first couple of episodes and I was like, I'm not feeling it like I did TNG. So,
They had
and
me
I've
at
got,
Dax.
and I've got friends who are OG Star Trek fans. So that's how they can keep it going. I absolutely agree. Is not everyone is gonna like that iteration. You know, they're always gonna have their favorite, but they'll probably branch out into the others too. So I agree.
So I wrote down his points because I thought they were good. So bear with me.
Okay.
His first is find good talent and jump on it, which I thought was great. Get those great actors. Keep them coming. Keep them cycling into those series.
Well, and I like the way that, like Fear the Walking Dead, we have people who are almost complete unknowns. And then you have people like Jenna Elfman, where it's like you're reintroducing a cult classic, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So.
His second point was budget for the special effects. Really budget to have good effects.
Yeah, because when you have bad effects, we all notice.
Hot air balloon.
We point and laugh.
All right. His third point is eventually give us what fear was actually supposed to be. Give us those first few weeks of the apocalypse and kind of how it was supposed to evolve.
Always chasing that dragon.
Number 4, which was my favorite, he said, come on, vary the locations a bit. A zombie apocalypse in, say, Montana or Alaska would be great.
Yes.
He made a recommendation in 5 and 6 for different reasons to have shorter seasons. So he felt like, first of all, if you had shorter seasons, there would be no filler episodes. Secondly, if you had shorter seasons, it would be less overwhelming for the viewers.
I agree. And I don't like that I agree because I love when I have like 22 episodes of something to binge for a season, like Big Bang Theory or something like that. But I also like stuff that is done by like the BBC. Doctor Who usually only has like 6 per season. They did a Sherlock Holmes show that only had like 4 or something ridiculous. It is definitely a way to keep the viewer interested because you give them just a taste and then you cut it off for a year.
All right. Number 7. Listen to critics and listen to actors. He pointed out that the actors who are on Fear this season probably aren't very happy.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't agree totally with the listen to critics because it seems like every single movie I go to and like is panned by the critics, and all the ones that are critically acclaimed are at the bottom of my list.
Okay, so to be fair, he's a critic, so he's probably going to say listen to critics. But to be fair, he says listen to actors, and one of the actors that he talked about was Tom Paine, and listening to how unhappy Tom Paine was with how Jesus was depicted.
And Jesus, like, he wasn't even, though, yeah, didn't have a whole lot to complain about compared to others.
All right, so number 8, kill characters, but make sure that there are strong characters to rise up in their places.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
Number 9, which I totally loved. Remember, this is a horror series. It's supposed to be scary.
Yeah.
He pointed out that he couldn't remember the last time there was a scary zombie kill.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I loved Black Summer because it was just terrifying.
Do you know the other Real Housewife did not like Black Summer? She liked...
She was adopted.
But no, she told me she's not adopted. She started listening. She said, I'm not the one who's adopted.
Yeah, we are kind of the two offs.
All right. And then the last thing that Eric Kane talked about in his 10 things AMC needs to do was hire people whose job it is specifically to do good script continuity.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
That matters.
I actually thought that all of his points for continuing the franchise were really valid points.
Yeah, apparently you should listen to critics.
Yeah, so, here we go again, agreeing with Eric Kane. I must be drinking.
Are you still on pain meds?
No. No, I haven't been on pain meds for a while. It's probably why I rated this a 2.9.
Well, you weren't alone in your lack of interest because Paul Tassi and Eric Kane both.
Yeah, tell me about it because I didn't read their articles about this episode of Fear.
Well, Paul,
I was kind of taken.
So,
I got sucked down the rabbit hole of what they thought about season 10 and what they thought about the franchise overall. So
there's actually several articles. So Eric Kane posted on September 22nd at 8 a.m. You don't want to miss tonight's episode of Fear the Walking Dead. And then at 10 p.m. he writes, Fear the Walking Dead, Season 5, Episode 15 review. The worst episode of the season. So
he's not the only one who said that.
Yeah, so Paul Tassi's was Fear the Walking Dead's second documentary episode is just unbearable. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have to say one of the things that I wrote down right away was, oh God, another found footage episode. We just lost the other Real Housewife again.
Right? Yeah. I want to say that I was surprised that they did that again, but it's not like they have. I mean, they've been wrapped filming forever now. So, what's in the can is in the can. So.
Right. Good point.
They couldn't listen to all of us and, stop doing found footage.
I'm telling you, if there was anything more annoying than the first cult recruitment video, it's Ginny's cult recruitment video. Good Lord.
Or dueling cult recruitment
videos. Yeah.
Now I'm the one who's drinking.
All right. So that kind of leads right into our good, bad, and ugly. So tell me your good.
It does. So my good has sort of yet to be realized. It just happened right at the end of the episode. Dwight leaving.
Oh my God, that's my good too!
Yay! I completely agree with him leaving.
I did too.
Even if Jenny has info on his wife, he's like, yeah, no, I've been through this before. Peace out.
That is exactly what I wrote down. I wrote, he told them that by throwing in the towel, that Virginia is the equivalent of throwing in with the Saviors.
Yep. And I mean, he has a visual reminder every time he looks in the mirror of why he will never go there again. He lost his wife. He burned his face. It's taken everything he's ever had, at least post-apocalyptic.
Yes.
Yeah. And I love that he's like, I've walked further than that.
Yes.
He was completely resigned to be like, nope, that's where I draw the line. Yeah. So I doubt that he's actually leaving. I think that we will see more of him, but I think he's separating from the group. At least I hope he is. And I hope that he goes on the hunt for his wife again.
I think Sherry's done. I don't think we're going to see Sherry again.
Again, I could go either way. I could be like, I want them to have some sort of reunion, whether it's him finding her dead or finding her shambling corpse or finding her and her not wanting to be with him, or the realistic path of some people just disappear.
Some people do just disappear.
Yeah. I mean, She could be a shambling corpse. She could be dead. She could be with somebody else and not want to see her husband again. And we never find any of that out. I'm totally cool either way, but I like that Dwight's gonna kind of, get the Dwight show.
It'll be interesting to see how they handle Dwight, but I was totally down with him bailing on the group.
Yep.
So I have to tell you, this update from Facebook, Steve Baldwin got on Biters on the link that I put up for the petition to get rid of Andrew Chambliss and Ian Goldberg. He said, I knew this would happen. I suggested we start a GoFundMe campaign to pay them to leave.
Oh, that's funny.
I told him I would contribute to that.
So, if given a choice, I put this poll up on the Biters Facebook page.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right. Okay, if you have never encountered either group before, whose propaganda video would make you more likely to join?
I voted for neither.
And, okay, so the choices were We're Here to Help, and it's Alicia Debnam Carey, and Ginny's group, which was
Teddy Roosevelt.
And so A or B, and everyone chose overwhelmingly C.
None of the above.
And I told you all to try and be objective, because of course we're always going to want to join our main group of people, but nope, we're all going the way of Dwight.
All right. That leads right into my bad, so I'm just going to say it. I, hate, Ginny, The character is awful. It's not the actress. I liked her in other things I saw her in. I thought she was great in Jessica Jones. I thought she was great in The Boys. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's falling flat with her.
My first impression for this episode was I hate the cadence of her speech, and I don't know why.
And she looks like she's crazy.
Yeah, she definitely does.
And we have no explanation of her motivations.
No,
so there's nothing about her that's redeeming or appealing.
Except that she is finally becoming the malignant bad guy we all need to have. Like, was it Logan? Was it not Logan? Was it somebody controlling Logan? And then it was like, oh, Ginny and the horseback people showed up, and are they good? Are they bad? Now we're like, okay, they're dicks. Yeah. They're like saviors in training.
But okay. Negan at least had this aura of cool and malevolence.
Right.
That I could totally dig, even when everybody else was like, oh, he's too comic booky. He's too overblown. Nah, I was down with Negan. Yeah. I am not down with Ginny.
She's like kind of a soccer mom who's a tiger mom wannabe that just got stuck in the apocalypse.
Don't hate on the actress, you guys. Don't hate on the actress.
No.
It's just the
Ginny.
character is horrible.
Ginny. Yeah. Yeah, it is definitely not the actress, because we have seen her in other things and she is great. But sometimes we said the same thing about The Filthy Woman, is it's just not working. It's not the actress. It's just not working.
I even liked The Filthy Woman better than I liked Ginny. Yeah, The Filthy Woman I could at least get behind.
I did in the end, because of the explanation of why she did what she did.
Yep.
So, but I don't think we're getting rid of the Pioneers or Jenny anytime soon.
No, they're totally rolling into season 6.
Yep, we just got to deal with it.
All right, so what's your bad?
Speaking of rolling into season 6, how are we going to do it over that bridge? I hated the whole bridge scene.
Did ya?
Okay, so we're going to put all of these heavy, like 5,000-gallon oil tankers and MRATs and all these cars and everything over this bridge
Over
that has
this
been
creaky wooden bridge that's on some harem-scarum suspension wires.
right. That was probably in disrepair like a decade before the zombie apocalypse happened.
Right.
So I was just like, that's a really bad idea. And then just when I thought, I was like, okay, you're kind of stuck there and there's really not much you can do. Strand is all like, let's start a bucket brigade. I'm like,
I know, that was really dorky.
great. To where? Okay, so honestly, you have one tanker truck. Like, you can take the gas out of the tanker truck and you can fill up all the vehicles around you and you can fill up all the buckets and all of the jerry jugs that you can, but you're not getting all 5,000 gallons out of that truck, because where else are you going to put it? Bucket brigade.
No,
I think it was
right
one of
there
those
with ya.
things. I think it was one of those things where it's like when a woman goes into labor and you tell people to like go get newspaper and go boil water.
Yes.
Yeah. It was just like, I need to do something.
That is hilarious. This is the ZA's version of boiling water.
Go boil water.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, the whole bridge scene, and yeah, whatever made them think that they could, and of course, if you needed to send, it's like sending people out on ice. You send the lightest person first, and if that person doesn't fall through and die, you send the next lightest person.
So you send all of the kids over, and if you're lucky, they'll fall through and die.
Just saying.
Did I just say that out loud?
Or either that, or they're going to wind up on the other side, and the heavy people are going to be in the ice, and then you still don't got to deal with them. Oh,
we're terrible
yeah.
people.
So that was my bad. What was your ugly?
So I'm going to be a little bit of a hypocrite because my ugly is actually a fairly good ugly and it relates to my bad. I actually, as much as I hate that Ginny is the vehicle for the situation, I am glad that our heroes are finally in a situation they can't goody two-shoe their ways out of.
Right? They've got to help themselves now.
No, and they're not helping themselves. They're like, oh, Ginny, we want your help after all. But they are finally and truly in a situation that they can't resolve.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be able to, here to help their way out of it.
Yeah.
So that was actually satisfying. I mean, that was probably, aside from Dwight leaving, which I agree with you, was like, that probably should have been my good ugly. I am really happy that our heroes are finally screwed.
You know, and maybe this is our Negan storyline. This is where we have to kind of make some a deal with the devil and concede to the bad guy for a while, and you know,
Okay,
then
but if that's gonna happen, let's kill off Ginny and have it be a real bad guy.
Well, they are making exciting new expansions, so
And they're totally revamping the whole series.
just make sure to look for someone with a key pin or a stupid hat.
Right. Yes, we finally found out what your keys were for.
Oh, and I'm looking at, and they're the old-timey keys too. I actually have one. It was a little piece of a decoration.
They're
at
skeleton
a friend.
keys.
Yes, it was a decoration at a friend's wedding, and I like, so when she like pointed to her pin and was like, one of these, I'm like, someone raided a craft store. Because that's what they are. They are seriously a something from a craft store that you make cool picture frames and stuff out of, or you decorate weddings or whatever. Like,
Yeah, they've completely ruined the skeleton key for me. It will never be part of my craft repertoire
Yep.
from here on out.
ruined.
Completely.
Just throw it all away. That's fine.
All right, what was your ugly?
My ugly was also a good ugly.
All right, hence the
So-
reason you rated it a whole point higher than I did.
Right, for two reasons. And they were kind of the same reason. So we got to, my rating was touching sibling reunions. We got to see the reunion of Tom and Janice. And like we said, a lot of times people just disappear and you don't know what happens to them. But we got a nice reunion between siblings who both were in dire peril. And our group did help. Our group did rescue them. So technically Wes rescued Janice and now he's part of the group. So whatever. But it was a really great reunion. I'm glad they got to see each other before Tom's terrible ending. But I'm really glad somebody finally died. Sorry it had to be you, Tom.
It should have been somebody major. I'm sorry that I'm not calling Tom major, but it should have been somebody major.
Well, it was somebody who I was actually caring about. Like, honestly, we haven't seen enough of Tess and her son and stuff for me to really, be that involved in whether she lives or dies. And you know my opinion about the kids.
And we know that Grace is toast.
I really liked Tom. And, of course, Joe Massengill was our
featured cast last
week. And I just I really like the guy, the actor, and I really liked his character. He was just a regular guy. And for a second there, I thought I saw a little bit of flash and maybe he was going to be our Jerry. And so I was just, I don't know. I had the warm and fuzzy feelings about Tom. And then they killed him, and I'm like, okay, they finally killed somebody off I care about. So I actually think we're going to see Janice in a larger role now, too, because she has conflict with Jenny's group. And so, having said all of that, and it was a good ugly, I'm really, really upset of why Tom died.
Thank you, because I wrote that down in my writing potpourri.
Oh, right.
Al ruined him. Al completely poisoned him with her whole, I've got to get this, I've got to get the story.
Yes.
It's totally Al's fault that he died.
Definitely into rotting potpourri.
Yes.
Al's story finally killed somebody like we predicted it would.
Yes.
This was not what's Grace's fault. Like, they took the detour for her, but he was on the bridge trying to get Al's story when it collapsed. He would not have stayed there if there was no story to get. So Al killed him.
I completely agree.
Oh.
And I wrote that down multiple times, actually. I hate Al. This is all Al's fault.
And she knows it, too, because she keeps sitting there watching his death over and over and over.
Yes.
Oh.
And she had to finish editing the video just for him.
Right?
Yeah.
Ugh. I was so annoyed at how he, I'm glad we finally killed off somebody I care about, but I'm also kind of secretly glad that Al's story finally killed someone like we predicted it would.
I would have liked to have had a little more time to care about Tom. They could have killed somebody else.
Well, so Grace is going to die soon, right? I mean,
if they don't kill Grace off after all of the drama this episode, I'm not sure what they're going to do with her.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that it's I can't imagine what else. I mean, it's not like she's got the flu or something. There is something seriously wrong with her internally. And, she's known that she's been exposed to this radiation. And, yeah.
Okay, 2 points peripherally related to Grace. Number one, I hate that they brought up the Candy Beansies thing again.
Oh, me too.
Number two, I really appreciated that June said, I don't even know what I'm looking for when she was doing the ultrasound, because even though I capped on Eric Kane for being harsh about nurses, there is stuff that nurses are not trained to do. Nurses are not ultrasound technicians.
Yeah.
Nurses do not, generally speaking, read ultrasounds.
Yeah.
There are lots of things that nurses can do. I was really glad that June realistically said, I don't know what I'm looking for.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
that would be legit.
I think I even did write that down somewhere where I was just like, oh yeah, I said nurses can't diagnose thyroid cancer, I guess.
I actually did recently diagnose a thyroid cancer, but I did it because I sent the person out for appropriate radiology to someone who reads ultrasounds and who does thyroid biopsies. I didn't just guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, like we harped on it because it's like, yeah, a nurse probably could perform this surgery on Ophelia's, not Ophelia. What's her name? Shoulder.
Oh God, she's only been gone for an episode and we're already forgetting her name. Luciana.
Luciana, thank you. I'm staring at a picture of
Mercedes Mason.
no, of
Denai Garcia.
No, the father, Ophelia's dad,
Salazar.
Salazar. I'm staring at a picture of Salazar right now on Eric Kane's article. I am fading fast. But another point about Grace, somebody is going to have to stay with her awake for 24/7, because if she dies in her sleep, she's going to reanimate and kill everyone.
That's a good point. I totally didn't think about that.
Right?
Oh, Morgan will be awake and he'll be weepy.
Yeah, somebody's going to have to kill her, and it's going to be Morgan, because that's just the most horrible thing.
And because he couldn't bring himself to tell her how he feels.
Right?
Which, by the way, that was actually one of my favorite Salazar moments, when he was like, life is short. If you need to say something, say it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I know there are people who are not liking the direction that they've taken Salazar this season. I actually find the changes to him to be the least objectionable, because he still has an edge. He's still funny. He's still interesting.
Yeah.
He's the only character for which I can say that.
Yeah.
For whom I can say that.
It's funny because he started out, so, I mean, he was the guy that was literally peeling the skin off somebody else to get information. And, I mean,
he's giving relationship advice.
And he's carrying a cat around. Like,
that's funny.
I like his character evolution. I would like to see more of this seriously scary side of him again. Just, like, when it comes to dealing with people like Ginny, I mean, given what the background that we were given on this guy, I can't imagine that she scares him.
I totally think it would be interesting to see a combination of who Salazar was and who he is.
Yeah.
I think they could carry it off. I mean, I really do. I think he's about the only character that they could carry off at this point, but
it's, I think a lot of that has to do with the loss of Ophelia, and then now he has Charlie,
and Skidmark.
And Skidmark. Yeah. He's a guy that needs a family to keep him from being the crazy old guy, the crazy mean old guy.
All right, so a couple other things. The title card was from Al breaking the TV.
Okay.
So remember, right before the title card opens up, it shows her pulling the TV off and crashing it onto the ground. And It's actually, the title card is the screen of the TV breaking.
Okay.
So I like the way they broke the fourth wall with that. You probably didn't see them because you don't get yours as cable, but the TWD commercials are really comic booky and really interesting.
Huh.
Yeah,
I'll have
really
to seek
like
them out.
Yeah, it's worth looking for them. And then cult recruitment video. So I liked that Ginny kind of used Tom's words against him. She kind of made it look like he was supporting her.
Yes.
I also felt like in our recruit recruitment video that Tom was the most genuine, and I think it's just because we haven't heard him be all preachy before.
Right. Right. Hers felt a little more slicker, and I want to say modern, but I also want to say like pre-apocalyptic. That it felt like
It was like an ad for an old folks home.
Or
it's
like
because of her. It's because of her. It's because of Ginny.
or like some like HR video that you have to watch for training before a job or something, because everyone was like well lit and very clean, and sitting behind desks or at their workstation, or it was completely different from people sitting on apple crates on the side of the road next to a big rig,
right.
Like, totally different feel of recruitment videos.
I will say, by the way, I missed it. She did totally telegraph in the last episode that she was going to take the cult recruitment video and run with it. So she said the whole thing about, the whole video angle. I hadn't really thought about that.
Yeah, and I didn't think she was actually going to do it. I thought
she completely telegraphed it, and I didn't realize it.
Yeah. Man, they found another store with those old little tapes that you can convert into VHS.
Tom would he would like you to know that you picked him apart, and that really that stuff probably still was in a Radio Shack around the time of the apocalypse. I'm not sure I agree, but
yeah, I don't agree either.
I liked that they had found footage with Wes. That was actually probably the piece of found footage that I liked the best. But I felt like they had him swear repeatedly just for shock effect.
I was wondering, I was like, how far we've come in the ability to swear.
2, 3.
3!
Exactly.
Yeah, I was just like, we used to get 3 a season or 2 a season, and now we're just like tossing that around everywhere.
Yeah. I also wrote down that I thought overall Grace looked pretty good for somebody who was dying of radiation poisoning.
Really? Yeah, I wrote down Grace looks really bad.
Oh no, her color was still pretty good. She still had like meat on her bones.
That's very true.
She actually looked pretty darn good for somebody who was dying horrifically.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. The Humbug's Gulch Sheriff's Badge. This is what I wrote. Oh, I'm so far gone that this actually sounds like a good idea.
I didn't know it was a thing. I mean, I know that like kitschy old Western towns are a thing, but
they said in Humbug's Gulch that it was a thing. Dory talked about it being a franchise.
I know, but I'm just like, he was like, we must be closer than I thought. And I'm like, really? Like, the dude with the sheriff's badge just so happens to be the walker that breaches your fence. Okay, sure. I believe you.
All right, I'm going to do another nitpicky medical thing. But typically retirement homes don't have IV supplies.
Really?
Like, usually if someone's sick enough to need IVs, they're either sent back to the hospital or they're in a much higher level of care than just a retirement home.
Okay, what if it's not just a retirement home, but a long-term care facility where you're not sick enough to be in the hospital, but you can't transition home yet?
And it may be that Morgan was misspeaking.
Okay.
I'm willing to give that. It's a little nitpicky, but I was like,
Okay.
If it's truly just a retirement home, you're not going to find IV supplies there.
Right. Because I know that there's different levels of care for different facilities. Yes. So, for instance, when my dad had his aortic aneurysm and survived somehow.
Because he's meaner than dirt.
Right.
I was going to swear, but I don't want to edit.
Which, I mean, I have made a lot better life choices than he has, so I'm pretty sure I'm immortal.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he transitioned from basically a trauma care facility into a recovery home. And I had to explain it to people. I'm like, not drug recovery, like a recovery, like you're going to get physical therapy and there's going to be somebody checking on you every hour at the night to make sure that, you haven't fallen out of bed or anything.
It's more like a rehab facility.
Yeah, it is a rehab facility.
Yeah.
But one of the he had to be, off a catheter, he had to be off of an IV, that type of thing. But they did offer some level of medical care. So I know that there's a whole spectrum out there of what different centers offer. So you may get lucky and get one with IVs.
Yeah, okay. I'll give you that.
Or you could have had some clever nurse, because nurses are clever, in the apocalypse, be like, we're going to hold up in this care facility and I'm going to go raid the closest veterinarian's office and medical supply store, and we're going to hold up here. And she could have left a just in case box.
Nurses are clever. I will give you that.
Yes.
All right. I liked that Grace and Morgan's plight motivated June and John to decide that they wanted to have their zombocalypse wedding.
Yeah. I love that the rabbi's going to officiate.
Although now they're kind of in a situation where that's probably not going to happen.
Do you think they'll be able to take the gulch?
Well, now they've called Ginny, so it's out of their hands.
I don't know.
Because Ginny's going to descend on them and do whatever she wants to do.
So, do you get the feeling? So earlier in the episode, they sent everyone out scouting and they were looking at schools and shopping centers and things like that. And it's like, nope, this one's gone. Nope, this one's burnt out. Nope, there's nothing here. Of course, that's the pioneers taking out all of their options.
Oh,
correct?
Now that's an interesting thought. I really didn't think about it that way, but that's a very interesting thought.
And the pioneers have been following the convoy. Is it possible
that they're the reason Humbug's Gulch is overrun?
That it's overrun and that it is far enough away that it's going to expend all of their resources, and that the shambler that just so happened to breach the fence was the one with the sheriff's badge that said Humbug's Gulch. I feel like this is a setup. This was meant to happen. They were meant to have no other choice but to call Ginny.
Which, by the way, I did like Ginny's, I'm going to fix your little red wagon and shoot things up into the air and make the horde descend upon you. That was cold, and I liked that. Okay,
and so that's when I was like, finally, she's become malignant. She is our malevolent evil force. That's truly evil. Because you could have just left. If you really cared about having these people and you were not a terrible person, you would just leave. You'd be like, okay, you don't want my help, but Channel 5 if you need us, and you just leave. You wouldn't be a dick and call in the walkers.
I really did like the way that she picked at Dwight's scabs, too. She was really pretty awful to him.
Oh, I don't remember what she said.
She just picking at him, saying that she had news about Sherry, that someone who was in their group had broke bread with Sherry months ago, and she was really worried about Dwight. That was when he drew down on her and was like, that's it.
Okay, so I'm tired enough that I thought when you said pick at his scabs,
you meant literally.
Literally.
No, those burns are well healed. They're not scabbed anymore.
What? So I loved it when she was like, "Oh, hi, Tom."
Right.
And it's like, you tried to kill me, and she's like,
because you were a liability.
You had a bad track record, and I'm like, that's a seriously negative eval. I mean, just demote the guy, right? You're no longer in charge because you suck at it. We're going to give your job to some other guy, and you're going to go clean the pool,
He doesn't get a written warning. He's out.
Right? Man, I have had some tough bosses before, but I've never been threatened with death. I've wanted to threaten with death, but I also wanted to stay employed, so that stays in my head or on my phone.
Okay, speaking of threatening with death, I actually did like the mayhem of the herd being called down on them.
Yeah. Yep.
It
Finally,
could have
we
been a
have it.
little more mayhemy, but it wasn't bad.
Okay, so having said that I hated the whole bridge scene, the part where Morgan was backing up as he's battling the walkers and all of those cords snapping.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if anybody out there has seen a little movie called Ghost Ship.
Oh, God, why does that ring a bell?
At the very, very beginning of the movie, I'm not giving anything away. This happens like in the first 3 minutes. The very, very beginning of the movie, they show all these like rich people on a pleasure cruise and everything, and they're out on the deck dancing, and they got champagne and blah, blah, blah. And there's a little girl, and it's set up this way because these guys want to steal something off the ship that's very valuable. So they have this like metal line that is part of something on the ship, and they have it just like fly through all of the people, and it cuts them all in half because that kind of stuff happens. Like when those tension wires break, they can like snap your head off.
God,
Like,
that sounds really familiar. Now it's maddening. I'm going to have to go look it up.
well, and so the poor little girl survives because it goes over her head. She's not tall enough for it to cut her in half. And so like this first scene, you just see all of these people's like tops of their bodies sliding off the bottoms, and this little girl is the only one left standing. It's horrific. It's awesome.
I'm going to look it up because it sounds totally familiar.
Ghost Ship. Yep. But so that was just an added like a little bit of tension to the scene. He not only has to, avoid all of these walkers, but the bridge is collapsing below him and these wires are snapping next to him, and it's like, how will our guys get out of this mess? Tune in next week.
You know I'm going to tune in next week only because I have to. All right, I have 2 more things, and then I think I'm done with writing potpourri.
All right.
Are you now shipping Wes and Alicia?
Yes. What are we calling them?
Walisha.
Walisha? Yeah, it's better than S. Wisha. Yes. They are the 2 age-appropriate, attractive young people who are unattached and swing that way.
They actually would be an adorable couple, and she's not creeping on her stepbrother this time, so it's all good.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I wanted to say was finally, right at the end, the slimy, snaky, ever practical Victor finally shows up. Because he's the one who's urging them on to call Ginny on the radio.
God. He's just...
Finally. I mean, all this time we've been waiting for Victor Strand of season 1. I'm finally seeing a little tiny bit of Victor Strand of season 1.
Yeah. I would have preferred Victor Strand season 2, but...
I would have preferred Victor Strand season 4.
Oh, I have one more rant.
All right, go for it.
How and why are walkers still sneaking up on us in empty, hollow buildings? You have to hear them coming. That one that took Al down?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll join in this rant. I was actually really hoping that he was going to take Al out.
Yeah, I would have been okay with that.
It's nothing against Maggie Grace.
No,
it's, again,
I love Maggie
just
Grace.
being ready for a big death and being ready for the I've got to get the storyline to end.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I
But
was
I'm just
totally ready for her to get taken out.
okay, we either A, go into a building and clear it, or we, of course, we stand at the front and tap at the windows or doors or whatever and have them all come up front and we poke them with sticks. Or, like, I'm pretty sure that, like, I, even if I try to not make noise when I'm walking down a hallway, it, like, you make noise. Like, I can't imagine somebody with no cognition wouldn't make noise. And to be snuck up on like that, it bugged me.
Yeah. No. She should have died. She should have gotten taken out.
Yeah.
All right. And next week on Fear the Walking Dead
Is the end of the road. End of the line.
I'm really ready for this season to be over, so I can't say I'm sorry.
Me too. Me too. I'm anxious to see the season finale because, of course, it's always a good show. Almost always a good show. I mean, it's always going to have a lot of action. A lot of stuff's going to happen. We're going to end on a cliffhanger. We don't know what's in store for next season. And then Walking Dead Prime come back.
Yes. And we know, at least we have good report
Intel
from Paul Tassi that the first 3 episodes are really good. So
Yep. So, looking forward to looking forward.
All right. So until next week, watch Prodigal Son. Definitely tune into Unbelievable. I still strongly recommend Glitch, even though Marnell was not enamored of it.
It wasn't bad. I'm not saying it was bad. It just didn't hook me like I thought it was going to.
And by the way, the 3rd and final season of Glitch dropped this week. So if you want to binge all 3 seasons, you'll be done with it.
Oh, man. So I usually take my work laptop home and I will have like the TV or my laptop running in the background with like a movie or show or whatever while I'm working. And so this weekend when I go into work to work the weekend, I will probably be on my work PC with my laptop running in the background.
With what playing?
I don't know yet. Maybe a couple episodes of the 100. I don't know.
I think Glitch deserves more attention than that. Maybe just some news, because hell, it's been a news week.
It's funny you should mention hell. Oh, man. It's so appropriate, though, for the week that we have had.
Oh, God. I have one more day left tomorrow, and then I have a long weekend, but I have a lot going on this weekend.
Well, at least we got the podcast done, finally.
Right. Now I have to edit, and I'm probably not going to post it until tomorrow, you guys. I'm really sorry. Hopefully we'll be more on it with the Prime series, because we'll both be more enthused about it.
Yes, definitely.
And we really eventually need to catch up on Preacher one of these days. I still haven't gotten beyond the episode that was all glitchy with the soundtrack, so...
Oh, I watched the 2nd episode, but I won't go any further than what we've podcasted.
Right, and season 3 is the one that had the glitchy soundtrack, so I need to go back and watch that again before we can podcast it.
Yep.
And we still haven't talked about Good Omens, and I kind of feel like the ship has sailed, and I didn't really like it anyway, so...
God, are we ever getting another mid-season break? Or are we just going to keep rolling through?
I think until Fear gets canceled, we're going to just keep rolling through.
Yeah, but then we're going to have the 3rd one.
Right, that's why I said until Fear gets canceled.
Oh,
because,
man.
you know, they did finally give us an official name for the franchise.
Yeah. The Walking Dead universe. How original.
Yes, I haven't heard that one before.
I think they just want to trademark it now.
Right.
Like, they're like, we need to be making money off of that.
Yep.
All right, everyone. Have a good weekend. And just remember, take it one dead day at a time. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.